Before we begin, this analysis format and structure is not my own creation. Huge shout out to TGS Anime for his original duel analysis series, which inspired this analysis. A link to one of his videos will be in the description. Alright, on to the video. Joey versus Weevil, but it's modern Yu-Gi-Oh! An abridged-style video by Red Muffler Man that, being a Trap Tricks player myself, was immensely entertaining, but also caused me immense pain. For the record, contrary to what this video may lead you to believe, Trap Tricks players who still have a little bit of dignity do exist. I should know, because I'm one of them. I think. Anyway, true to the original anime series, what Joey and Weevil played in this video is a real duel that could actually happen in the real game. Joey was able to win by causing Weevil to deck out during the battle phase, but I wondered, could Weevil have played differently to win the duel, or at least survive Joey's turn and make a comeback? We're about to find out today, so let's get into the duel, shall we? The duel begins and Weevil goes first. His opening hand consists of Pot of Desires and 4 mystery cards whose identities will be able to be deduced shortly. He begins by activating Pot of Desires, banishing 10 cards from the top of his deck face down. The identities of these 10 cards are unknown and they will not ever become relevant. However, this allows him to draw 2 cards. We'll go deeper into this later in the video, but I just want to let you know now, this opening move is what ultimately costs Weevil the duel. Weevil's new opening hand consists of Trap Tricks Putica, Trap Tricks Mermelio, Max C, Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare, Floodgate Trap Hole, and Gravedigger's Trap Hole. The reason we know the contents of his hand now is because when the first thing you do on your first turn is activate an effect to draw cards, it becomes impossible to determine which cards were part of your original opening hand and which were among the ones you just drew. But we know all of Weevil's cards now, and we can track what he is going to do with them. Anyway, Weevil then normal summons Trap Tricks Putica. Her effect on normal summon allows him to search Trap Trip Garden from his deck and add it to his hand. Weevil does this, then link summons Trap Tricks Sira using Putica as material. He then activates Trap Trip Garden, which allows him to normal summon any Trap Tricks monster in addition to his usual normal summon during his main phase. Weevil then uses Trap Trip Garden's effect to normal summon Mermelio, whose effect on normal summon allows him to search a hole trap from his deck and add it to his hand. The trap he chooses is Bottomless Trap Hole. Because Mermelio's effect was activated, this then triggers Sira's effect to set a hole trap directly from Weevil's deck. He chooses Trap Tricks Holitea. Weevil then discards Bottomless Trap Hole, which allows him to activate Holitea on the same turn she was set. Holitea summons herself as a monster in defense position. Because Holitea was activated as a trap card, this triggers Sira's other effects to special summon a Trap Tricks monster from Weevil's deck. Weevil chooses to special summon Trap Tricks Arachnacampa. And here, I'm going to say Weevil misplayed. While Arachnacampa does provide an extra life to Weevil's back row, she does nothing to grant any sort of additional material advantage on special summon. What I probably would have done in Weevil's position is special summon Dionaya instead. This would allow Weevil to retrieve Bottomless Trap Hole from his graveyard and set it face down, on the condition that if he doesn't activate it, it gets banished on the end phase of his next turn. However, I can speak from experience when I say that provided you have the right selection of hole traps, and you don't hit a stroke of terrible luck, this banishment on your next turn becomes a non-issue. So, Weevil, you should have summoned Dionaya and reset Bottomless Trap Hole to get 1 extra disruption in the mag. You've misplayed. Weevil's next move is to overlay Mermelio and Holitea to XZ summon Trap Tricks Rafflesia. Rafflesia's abilities are as follows. Rafflesia is immune to trap effects while she has material. All of Weevil's Trap Tricks monsters except for Rafflesia cannot be destroyed. All of Weevil's Trap Tricks monsters except for Rafflesia cannot be targeted by targeting effects. Once per turn, Weevil can detach 1 material from Rafflesia to send a hole trap from his deck to his graveyard, and the effect of that hole trap activates and is treated as Rafflesia's monster effect. Spoiler alert, none of these effects actually have a chance to come into play during this duel. Weevil ends his turn by setting Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare, Floodgate Trap Hole, and Gravedigger's Trap Hole face down. It's Joey's turn. He draws, and during the draw phase, Weevil activates Max C, discarding it for cost. Now, for the rest of this turn, Weevil draws a card every time Joey special summons a monster. And at this point, I should note, Weevil's deck currently has 19 cards left in it, assuming he is playing with 40. This will now become important due to Max C's effect. Joey's turn continues. His opening hand consists of Dark Ruler No More, Harpy's Feather Duster, Thunder King the Lightning Strike Kaiju, Instant Fusion, DD Crow, and Comrade Swordsman of Landstar. Joey starts by activating Dark Ruler No More, which negates the effects of all of Weevil's monsters at the cost of Weevil being unable to take damage for the rest of this turn. He then activates Harpy's Feather Duster. Because the extra life granted to Weevil's back row by Arachnocampo was negated, all of his face-down hole traps are destroyed. Was there anything Weevil could have done in this situation? Well, unfortunately, no. And this is one of the pitfalls of the Traptrix deck. Even though Traptrix is great at disrupting your opponent's plays and controlling their turn, the archetype is extremely weak against spell cards. I myself experienced this against Sky Striker and Mitsurugi. Traptrix has no meaningful way of stopping spell card effects. The only thing I can think of that you can really do against spells with Traptrix is to just have a copy of Anti-Spell Fragrance and hope you draw into it. I don't know. Maybe if anyone in the comments also plays Traptrix, let me know, because this has been bugging me at locals quite a bit. Anyway, the next thing Joey does is activate the effect of Thunder King the Lightning Strike Kaiju. By tributing Weevil's Rafflesia, he can special summon it to Weevil's side of the field. Because Joey special summoned a monster, Weevil draws one card due to Max C's effect. He draws Nibiru the Primal Being. His deck now has 18 cards remaining. Joey then activates Instant Fusion. By paying 1,000 life points, he can special summon a level 5 or lower fusion monster from his extra deck, and that special summon is treated as a fusion summon. He fusion summons Flame Swordsman. Due to Max C's effect, Weevil draws another card. He draws Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. His deck now has 17 cards remaining. Joey normal summons Comrade Swordsman of Landstar, then tunes it with Flame Swordsman to synchro summon Colossal Fighter. Because Comrade Swordsman of Landstar and Flame Swordsman are now both warrior monsters in the graveyard, Colossal Fighter gains 200 attack. Weevil draws another card from Max C's effect. He draws Traptrix Mantis and now has 16 cards left in his deck. Joey then enters the battle phase and crashes Colossal Fighter into Thunder King. Colossal Fighter is destroyed, and Joey takes 300 battle damage. Colossal Fighter's effect then activates. When it is destroyed by battle, it can special summon any warrior monster from either graveyard, including itself. Joey special summons Colossal Fighter, and Weevil draws a card that is never shown to us. Weevil's deck now has 15 cards remaining. From this point, none of Weevil's draws due to Max C's effect are shown to us. Joey repeats this cycle again. Colossal Fighter crashes and is destroyed. Joey takes 300 battle damage, then resummons Colossal Fighter. Weevil draws a card and now has 14 cards left in his deck. At this point, Weevil catches on to what Joey is attempting to do. Joey is going to make him lose by deck out. To counteract this, he activates the effect of the Holitea in his graveyard. By banishing her, he can then target another Traptrix monster in his graveyard and special summon it. Weevil targets Traptrix Putica, with the idea being that when Putica is special summoned, her effect on special summon will banish Colossal Fighter until the standby phase of the next turn. This would stop Joey's deck out strategy dead in its tracks, but before Holitea's effect can resolve, Joey chains the DD Crow in his hand. By discarding it, he can then target one card in Weevil's graveyard and banish it. He targets Traptrix Putica. The effects resolve. DD Crow banishes Putica, and because Holitea's target was moved, her effect fizzles. The battle phase continues, as does the cycle. Joey crashes Colossal Fighter into Thunder King, Colossal Fighter resummons itself, and Weevil draws due to Max C's effect. Eventually, Weevil is forced to draw when his deck has no cards remaining. And with just 1,000 life points left, Joey wins the duel. As I alluded to in the beginning of the duel, Weevil opening his turn with Pot of Desires is the sole reason why he lost. But that may have some of you asking, why didn't he stop Joey's infinite loop by playing his hand traps? Well, let's take a look at the hand traps Weevil drew that were shown to us. Nibiru the Primal Being only works during the main phase, and Joey had only done a total of 4 summons before moving into his battle phase. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring was useless because Joey never searched any monsters from his deck. What about some of the other usual suspects? Well, there is Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill, which would have caused Joey 3,000 damage upon Colossal Fighter's destruction and forced Joey to end the loop before Weevil's deck runs out. However, Colossal Fighter special summons itself during the damage step, during which Ghost Mourner cannot act. If Weevil had Ghost Mourner in his deck, he would have had to use her during the main phase when Colossal Fighter was initially summoned, but he had not drawn her by that point. Effect Veiler would also be useless because it only works during the main phase. Droll and Lockbird is useless because Joey never drew or searched a card from his main deck by effect. The only hand trap I could see working in this situation is Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. Her effect is not limited to the main phase, does not include a damage step exception, and it would negate Colossal Fighter special summoning itself. But the more important question, Why did Weevil open his turn by playing Pot of Desires? This whole situation could have been avoided if Weevil had not banished 10 cards from the top of his deck, and all it really takes to build a decent board presence on turn 1 with Trap Tricks is Murmelio and a Hole Trap, which he most likely already had in his starting hand. There is also speculation from commenters that Weevil didn't summon Dianaya using Sira's effect because Pot of Desires had banished her, and if that's the case, that makes this move even more puzzling. With rogue archetypes like Runic existing, card advantage doesn't always play out in your favor, especially if it comes at a significant cost to what remains of your deck. Imagine if Weevil had opened with Pot of Desires against a Runic player, they would be laughing in his face. So let's say Weevil gets to the same board, Joey destroys all of his face-down hole traps, and Colossal Fighter and Thunder King are present. But Weevil had not opened with Pot of Desires. In this situation, I could see Joey miscalculating and overextending. He tries the loop with Colossal Fighter, but doesn't have enough life points to see it through. Joey would end up with 100 life points left, his field populated only by Colossal Fighter, and Weevil would have 7 cards in his deck. Not much, but it would be enough to go into the next turn. How does Weevil clap back? Well, he could easily just skip to the battle phase and have Thunder King attack Colossal Fighter. That would be 300 damage and Joey loses. But what if we wanted to BM a little and have a Trap Tricks monster be the one to deal the killing blow here? That requires getting rid of Colossal Fighter before the battle phase. We'll have to make a lot of assumptions about Weevil's deck, but I'm going to guess he runs multiple copies of his starters for greater consistency on turn 1. With his hand being 23 cards big after the draw phase in this hypothetical turn 3, I have zero doubts that he'll have an additional copy of Putica in his hand. Now, Trap Trip Garden has an interesting little effect here. You can banish a monster you control, then special summon a Trap Tricks from your hand or grave. With this in mind, Weevil could banish Thunder King and special summon Putica from his hand. Putica would then banish Colossal Fighter, and Joey is now completely vulnerable to direct attack. At this point, any of Weevil's monsters could bring down Joey's remaining 100 life points, and the possibilities are pretty much endless. Weevil has 2 normal summons, so he could play into a high attack monster like Pingicula, Alamiris, or Adipus. If he has another Holatea, he can set and summon her for further extension. Weevil could rally all of the strongest Trap Tricks monsters, and then use Adipus's attack boost to launch a coordinated attack that could kill Joey from 8,000 life points. Now, you're probably wondering, why did I just help Weevil with that? It was to prove that I'm more worthy of custody over the Trap Tricks than he is, obviously. Weevil, that deck is mine now. Also, the social worker's on the way.